Ashe. Ashe and Grand Rising once again to you all, my very beautiful people. Yes, you, my highly enriched melanin people. You, the Earth's original and organic humans, aka my fellow Africans. Yes, it is I, the Mystic Philosopher. And yes, it is evident that I'm still here with you on this side of reality. And welcome back to the Mystic Peace talking again on the 15 minutes with I, the Mystic Philosopher. And this is episode 47. I'm going to keep it on the 15. Then now, the main topic of this series of talks is, and as you know, is stress on the mind, or more correctly, the impact that this thing called stress has on this thing that we humans call mind. And that from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, the solution to this problem or to this disease called stress can, or it may be found in and by understanding and understanding and overstanding the want equation. And the want equation is want is equal to money, which is equal to stress, which is equal to unhappiness. And also by putting into practice the knowledge that can be gained from this profound equation. And the quote that I've been using and will continue to use for now is from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book. And I quote Psalm 23 and verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. I shall not want. So far between episode 43 and to episode 46, I think that I have spent a great deal of time answering, explaining, and sharing some of my perspectives on the following quote, or the following question rather. And I quote, when you say that you want, do you know exactly to whom or to what you're actually speaking? Or do you know what you are doing? And in doing so, I also reminded you that when we speak and when we use words, that we are performing magic with our words, that we are, reminded you that we are planting and sowing seeds into the universe, and that our practical life experiences shows that we will reap what we sow. Therefore, if we sow want, we can and we will only reap want. Consequently, we cannot and we will never be truly fulfilled or be truly happy, but that we will always be empty and be found wanting. We'll get back to that. Another very important question that I did not ask and therefore did not answer, and one that you all my people should ask and know the answer, is this: where are words, and by extension where are language and languages from? And what is the purpose of a language? This is a topic and a question that I have discussed, answered, and fully explained in previous lectures and presentations. So I will not get into that much detail at this time, but just to quickly and simply answer the question. Number one, where are words, and by extension where are language or / languages from? And the answer is words and by extension languages. Our language is from the source via the gods and the ancestors of a people, aka of a race of people. That's where it's from. I explained that already. Number two, and what is the purpose of words, and by extension what is the purpose of a language? And the answer is the purpose of words, and by extension the purpose of a language is for the race of people, or for a people, or the race of people. Those who have the words, the race of people, their words, and by extension, in other words, a race of people, words, and by extension a race of people, or a race of the people's language, it's for them to communicate. It's their words, it is their language to communicate and to have communion with their ancestors and their gods and source. That is the purpose of it. It's for communication with their ancestors, with their gods, and with their source. Very important to understand that point. Secondly, and just as important, the purpose of words, and by extension the purpose of a language, is to hold and to preserve the secrets of a race of people. And above all, it is to preserve their secrets that are between them and their God, and between them and their gods and their ancestors and their source. It's very important to understand this basic concept. Now, what are some of the secrets that are hidden and preserved in a language of a people? Some of you might be asking that question. What are some of the secrets? What is Mystic talking about? Well, here are just a few examples. Occult knowledge, religious secrets, religious knowledge, esoteric knowledge or esoteric secrets, military secrets, if you will. Just to name a few, of secrets in the language. Very important. Now, remember that I also told you that the secrets of a people is enveloped or is encased or encoded, encased and encoded in their words and by extension in their languages. And that is why to decode the secrets of a race of people, you must first decode the meaning and definition of their every words and their languages. And some of you might also remember where and when I told you that if we do not have our own words, and by extension, if we do not have our own language, and if we are not speaking our own language, then we have no secrets, and nor can we have any secrets. And common sense alone, if activated, will tell us that without secrets or methods of disguising and preserving our secrets, then we are beyond vulnerable. We are not only vulnerable, we are beyond vulnerable. We are easy pickings. We are like sitting ducks, if you will, or they say fish in a barrel. Easy to take out, right? Ducks just waiting to be plucked and eaten. We are just open to be taken advantage of and to be victims to anyone and to everyone or anything or everything. I also told you that one of the first things that our enemies, the malevolent creatures do when they deviously and covertly come among us and with their evil and sinister motives of violating us, of subjugating us, of colonizing us, of robbing and enslaving us, etc., is that they plant their spies everywhere among us. You name it, everywhere among us they have the spies. And most of the times, if not all the times, the spies that they plant among us are people from among us, our own people, aka some of our own kind. They look like us, talk like us, laugh with us, preach to us, talk to us, you name it. Or more correctly, the traitors, the agents and sellouts that our enemies use. They use how they get them. They use their women or their men, and above all, they use their filthy, what they call a filthy lucre. The money, aka the money, to seduce them and have them become like the Delilah that you read about in their books. And then the Delilahs, the traitors, they share all our secrets with our enemies. Tell them every meaning of every word. Tell them every damn thing, especially when they see one of the woman. Then they subtly befriend us. The enemies now, they befriend us, and especially those that are mentally and spiritually, intellectually, physically and otherwise the weakest among us. Those who don't know themselves and know their history and know their past, their own story, and have reverence for their ancestors, they befriend them. Then they slaughter those that are the strongest among us, meaning by any and every means necessary, they murder and slaughter those that are mentally, spiritually, intellectually, physically, and otherwise the strongest among us. Then they very carefully and meticulously study, decode, decipher, and then translate our language into their perverted ones. Our language, of course, which contain all our secrets and our way of doing things, they convert them into their own perverted language. And by doing so, they know any and everything about us, and thus are in total control of us, regrettably. In fact, they even study and translate the language of our life, aka the language of our DNA. They study our DNA, they take with blood, they do every damn thing with us. You think our enemy don't know about we? Hey, let me talk about. I know I'm straight right now. But more on this at another time. However, in my last episode, which is episode 46, I think that I also spend a reasonable amount of time explaining the fact that these are not our words and that this is not our language. And I also use analogies such as bullets, as envelopes, as capsules, as casings, as packages, etc. to describe and explain these things called words. And I am sure that the message and truth that those of you, my people that are already awake, and those of you that are waking up will get from that is that regardless of our most sincere intentions, if they meaning our most honest and sincere intentions, if they are not organized, coded, and packaged in the right package, then they cannot be correctly or accurately delivered. Package again mean word again. If they're not in the right way, they cannot be delivered to our intended address or our intended destination. And they will not be truly effective, and especially truly effective for us. And because the packages, meaning because the words that we are using to transmit and convey our most honest and sincere intentions to our source, via the universe, is not ours, then we are already handicapped, if not totally defeated. Our intentions, because they are packaged in the wrong packages or wrong words, will most definitely end up at the wrong address or at the wrong destination, or to the unintended address or nowhere whatsoever. In other words, our word package just get lost in the vastness of space or in the vastness of the universe. And not only that, but because we are using our enemies' words and their language, and sometimes, if not all the times, out of gross ignorance, we are violating the grammatical, the spiritual, and the metaphysical protocols, and consequently end up calling down bad luck, bad omen, curses, and condemnation on ourselves. For example, when we call ourselves black, what do you think we're doing? Or any of its synonyms and euphemisms. Well, I've spoken about that, several times before, and I will be getting back to that because, call yourself black. You think it's a good thing you're doing? You're making a sad mistake. But more on that at another time. To summarize, my people. Number one, we are powerless because we are not speaking and using our own words. I know some of you is the first time you hear this, say, what the hell this guy is talking about? Just think about it. I ask you to do this thing. We are powerless because we are not using or speaking our own words, our own language, and our own mother tongue. Number two, we are powerless because we are speaking and using the language of our malevolent foes. Number three, we are powerless because most often what we intend to say is not what we say or end up saying. Or the seeds, if you prefer, the seeds that we intend to sow are not the ones that in reality we end up sowing. We got to get back to that another time. And as the saying goes, ignorance of the law excuses not, or ignorance of the law excuse no one. In other words, a person who is unaware of a law or a principle, be it a natural or supernatural, spiritual, metaphysical, or otherwise, whatever the law is, may not escape liability for violating that law or for violating that principle, merely because one is in ignorance or merely because one is unaware of it. No. Number four, we are powerless because we have no direct communication with our source, which is our God. We have no direct communication with our God, our source, our gods, and our ancestors, etc., via the language of our foes. I have to talk more about this some other time. Number five, we are powerless because we are forced and conditioned to call upon, to pray, and to worship the God and gods, etc., of our malevolent foes. Number six, we are powerless because we don't know their language. Meaning, we really and truly don't know the language of our foes, and nor is it in their best interest, or they do not intend for us, or intend for us that they call people like us, that they call strangers, that is within their gates, to know their language, meaning to learn their secrets. At best, all we know are bastardized versions of their language and languages. For common sense, if activated, will affirm that if we know their language, then if we know and truly know their language, then we would have power over them. Or at the very least, we would be treated as equal to and with them. Number 7, we are powerless because we do not have any secrets. And as long as we have to use their language, then we will remain powerless. And number 8, we are powerless because our minds are colonized via the words and languages of our malevolent foes, and consequently we are under their subjection, or under their total subjection and control. Wow. This time run fast, man. Again, thus far, in today's episode, I honestly think that I have given you, or at the very least, I honestly think that I may have given some of you, if not all of you, a lot more to think about, and possibly a lot more to look forward to in my next episode, especially as it relates again to stress, the seed called want and the want equation, etc., etc. And so, in the interest of time, I think I should just pause here. I have to pause here for today and ask that you please join me if when next I'm talking again, possibly in episode 48, where and when I will be talking and sharing with you my perspectives, more of my perspective on this time on the magical, mystical, metaphysical aspect of continuing the word want. For remember, you shall not want, we shall not want, and you shall not be found wanted. In the meantime and between time, let me again remind you, my people, that yesterday is history, it too is dead and gone, no more to come back. Tomorrow is a mystery, it too may never come, but today is a gift, which is why we call it the present day. And so I hereby implore you to live for today, and by live I mean to claim your natural birthright. And just in case you forget what your natural birthright is, my melanin people, it is your happiness and full joy today, and let's hope for tomorrow, for it too may never come for you or for I. Thanks for your time, for listening. I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.